Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we break down the biggest political stories shaping South Africa. Today, we have a major update involving one of the most controversial political figures in the country, Ace Magashule. The former Premier of the Free State and suspended Secretary-General of the ANC is once again in the spotlight, and this time, it's not just about political scandals or internal party battles. This is about money, millions of rands worth of assets, to be specific. Ace Magashule is facing the possible loss of properties, vehicles, and investments valued at over 32 million after the Asset Forfeiture Unit, or AFU, obtained a preservation order from the High Court. This legal step allows the state to freeze and seize Magashule's assets pending further investigation into corruption, money laundering, and abuse of public funds during his time as Free State Premier. This is not just another headline, this is a major development in South Africa's long battle with political corruption. The National Prosecuting Authority, or NPA, stated that the frozen assets include a number of luxury properties in Johannesburg and Bloemfontein, high-end vehicles, and other high-value investments. Investigators believe these were acquired with funds siphoned from public tenders, most notably from the now infamous asbestos removal project, one of the biggest corruption scandals linked to Magashule's administration. The project, initially meant to protect vulnerable residents from harmful asbestos roofs, turned into a multi-million rand cash cow for connected individuals. Billions were budgeted, but very little actual work was done. And now, investigators say the proceeds were used to fund a lavish lifestyle for Magashule and his allies. So how did we get here? The AFU approached the court with what it says is compelling evidence that these assets are the proceeds of criminal conduct. Essentially, they argue that if the court doesn't act, the assets could be sold, transferred, or hidden. The court agreed, granting the AFU permission to take immediate control of the properties and vehicles. This is known as a preservation order, an important legal tool used in high-profile corruption cases to prevent suspects from enjoying or hiding ill-gotten wealth. According to NPA spokesperson Thunzi Moga, this move is part of a broader and ongoing investigation into state capture and tender fraud. He stated, "The Asset Forfeiture Unit has acted within its mandate to ensure that suspected ill-gotten wealth does not disappear or continue to benefit individuals while legal proceedings are underway. This is a clear signal that the state is finally starting to move against politically connected elites who've long appeared untouchable." Let's break it down even further. These frozen assets weren't just basic properties, they were luxury homes in some of South Africa's wealthiest suburbs. Think gated estates in Johannesburg and plush residences in Bloemfontein. Some reports indicate that Magashule also controlled a fleet of high-end cars, possibly including BMWs and Mercedes-Benz vehicles often associated with status and power in South African political circles. Investigators believe these assets were funded through irregular tenders, contracts that were awarded without proper procedures, often to friends, allies, or front companies. And behind many of those tenders, say prosecutors, was Magashule's influence. The Asbestos project, in particular, has become symbolic of the rot in provincial governance. It was initially presented as a noble initiative to remove deadly asbestos from thousands of low-income homes. But whistleblowers, journalists, and now the state alleged that it became a front for looting. Millions were paid out to contractors who never delivered, and much of the money was laundered through shell companies. Some of it, investigators say, eventually found its way into luxury property portfolios and expensive vehicles linked to Magashule and his associates. What makes this development even more politically charged is Magashule's response. He has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, painting himself as a victim of political persecution. According to Magashule, the state's actions are not about justice, they're about sidelining him from politics. He has claimed that the ANC leadership, and particularly President Cyril Ramaphosa's faction, is targeting him to eliminate competition and consolidate power. In fact, he's long positioned himself as a champion of a radical economic transformation, often clashing with the more moderate elements within the party. Magashule's supporters often echo his claims, suggesting that the investigations are selective and politically timed, especially with the elections around the corner. But the preservation order granted by the High Court isn't based on political opinions, it's based on a detailed financial and legal investigation. The court found enough evidence to justify freezing the assets while the NPA prepares to argue for permanent forfeiture. And that brings us to the next stage of this process. The NPA will now move towards securing a full forfeiture order. This would permanently strip Magashule of the assets if the state can prove in court that they were indeed acquired through criminal means. This won't be a quick process. It will involve complex legal arguments, financial records, testimonies, and more. But it does suggest that the state is finally moving from words to action when it comes to accountability for politically connected figures. This also sends a strong message to others implicated in state capture and corruption. For years, the Zondo Commission, journalists, and civil society have exposed a web of looting and abuse of power in South Africa. But until recently, many citizens have grown disillusioned, believing that those at the top are above the law. This move by the AFU may restore some faith that justice is slowly catching up. It's also worth noting the broader implications for the ANC itself. The party is already deeply divided ahead of the elections. With rising support for breakaway movements like the MK Party, headed by Zuma allies, and criticism from opposition parties about its failure to root out corruption, developments like this will only intensify internal battles. Magashule, once one of the most powerful figures in the ANC, now finds himself in legal peril and political isolation. And this, in many ways, reflects the broader struggle for the soul of the ANC, between those who want reform and those clinging to old networks of patronage and power. As we wait for the next phase of this legal showdown, many South Africans will be watching closely. Will the state follow through and hold Magashule accountable? Will other high-profile politicians face similar scrutiny? Or will this case, like so many others, drag on until the public forgets? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this a sign that South Africa is finally getting serious about corruption? Or is it just political theater, designed to distract us from deeper systemic issues? Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update on South Africa's most important political stories. We are here to bring you the facts, the context, and the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay critical. See you next time.